Hello, everybody. We'll wait just another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Right, we're one past. Andrew, if you want to go ahead and flip over to the intro slide here, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so hi, everybody. My name is Josh. I'm the Chief Customer Officer here at Hostaway. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today on how to optimize and get more bookings with Vrbo. First, I want to go over a couple of different housekeeping items. The Q&A is open. Please use the Q&A button in your Zoom account for any questions. We won't see them in chat, but we've got some people on the back end that are going to try to help answer the questions. We'll also have a live Q&A session as we go through. One of the things we ask is that all questions stay on topic. I know that there are probably a lot of non-related Hostaway or even Vrbo questions that you might have. And for those, I ask that you please email support@hostaway.com so that we can assist. And this is just so that we can keep our Q&A clean and to the point so we can get to as many questions as possible. We've got a lot of content, so we want to make sure we get through that. Speaking of our Q&A, we will try to answer as many questions as possible. If we don't get to your questions, we will put them in a spreadsheet. We'll get a notification of them. And then we'll email you from our ticketing system after this presentation. Just a reminder, that email will come to the one that you registered to this webinar on. So it might not be your Hostaway email address if you used a different email address to register for this presentation. So now that we've got that out of the way, today we're joined by a couple of team members of Vrbo. We have a great partnership with Vrbo, so I'd like to take a moment to thank them for joining. So Stacy, Jamie, Riley, thank you so much for joining to help us out with some of the data from Vrbo, and then also some Q&A that we have later on. Also in the background, we've got Tatiana and Henrique from our success team handling questions and logistics. So a big shout out to them for putting this together. This webinar is a part of our ongoing commitment to you as a customer here at Hostaway, making sure that you're getting the most return on investment out of the Hostaway platform and hopefully getting you more bookings. One of our values here at Hostaway is our customer success is our success. And with this webinar, we hope that it shows that value in action. So let's get down to what this webinar is about, or better yet, why are we having this? So during this webinar, we're going to show you some common pitfalls that Vrbo and our Hostaway team have identified and setups that could cause you to get less bookings on Vrbo. We have data directly from Vrbo that we'll be displaying to show you the importance of optimizing of these optimization tips. We're running this webinar today because you as a customer at Hostaway have a unique advantage over most of your competitors, and that advantage is Hostaway. You have the opportunity to have your listing on multiple channels. However, if your listings are not optimized for that channel, then it does no good. So in combination of both Vrbo and our experience here at Hostaway, we have identified top 10 reasons that your listing might not be coming up to the guest in the Vrbo platform when they search. So you can adjust here at Hostaway and sync back to Vrbo. We hope that you enjoy the content. And again, please use the Q&A button for any questions. As always, if you have any other questions or need any assistance with anything discussed here or not related, please feel free to reach out to support@hostaway.com. We'll be more than glad to assist. With that, I want to turn it over to Mr. Andrew Pierce, our customer success engineer here at Hostaway. Andrew, take it away. And thanks again, everyone, for joining. I'm going to sit back and answer some questions as they come up, if I can. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Josh. It is a pleasure being here with you, our team, Vrbo team, that we talk on a daily basis about how to improve the way our clients perform here on Hostaway. So we have the A team, Vrbo here. So it is a pleasure, to be with you. Also, we have many clients, that I had the opportunity to have contact with, and to be part of the training or helping with finding solutions. And in many cases, trying to assist to get the most out of Vrbo channel, right? And today we are here to discuss that, right? So we are going to focus exclusively on that, how to take the best out of Hostaway to get more reservations on Vrbo. This is a frequently asked question, that every now and then, a client comes to me and say, me or my team, asking, okay, what am I not doing correctly, right? What am I missing here? So what we usually do is we review the account, we go over some of the things, but we decide to put everything together, right? So all the best practices that we have collected, everything that we have also collected from Vrbo, on a daily basis, going back and forth, feedback that we receive, things that were missed. So we put together here 10 reasons, 10 topics that we believe are the most important, right? The most relevant and very often overlooked, right? So how did we put together this material, right? So we created a deck. So we are going to present this items, and we are going over one by one. And after the meeting, we are sending this material to you, right? So you will be able to access everything that we have here, not only the material that I'm presenting to you, you also have access to a checklist, to check your progress, to check if you have improved, since the webinar, and after the webinar, so that you make sure that you review all the items here. And also we have some videos on how to do things that we are suggesting you to do. So it is a lot of content here, and we hope, that you can take advantage of that, to increase your performance, receiving reservations from that channel. All right. So let me get started. We have some of the items here. This is a summary of what we are going to cover today, right? After I will have our colleagues from Vrbo giving some insights of what they have noticed, especially from our clients, some of the data, there are basis of this presentation here. Why did we address this specific items? And then we'll have a Q&A so that you can ask questions like Josh has already said. So focus on the Q&A, not on the chat, please. So let's get the ball rolling here. So photo recommendation, right? It seems basic because yes, photo sells, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows about a high quality photo, the importance of a high quality photo. And it's still, sometimes we open a listing and we find photos taken, with a cell phone, not very well planned, doesn't look professional. So make sure that you have high quality photos. If possible, hire a professional to have it, right? Captions. You can also add captions, even on Hostaway, and this information will appear on Vrbo. Help your clients to find your listing and understand the photo, not only seeing the photo, right? Sometimes it's not clear. So why not have the image and the captions? Take pictures of the outdoors, right? It is important to have the indoors, but the outdoors are just as important, right? So people are going to your place because they want to see some mountains, or they want to see nature, or they want to see whatever is nearby, so take pictures, add the pictures, right? Picture is part of the look and feel of your property, right? So when the guest is there, they want to see, the guest is still not there, right? So that's exactly the point. Bring photos so the guest, whoever is trying to book your listing, get the feeling that they're there already, right? Same thing with indoor photos, right? Just as important. You took so much care of decorating your listing, preparing everything, taking care of details. Why not you take a picture of that? Why not you put that to show that you care about detail, right? Every guest likes that. Activities, right? So if you have activities, it's not enough just to describe that, right? It's also important that you take pictures. Again, people have to look, they have to believe, they have to think, what are they going to do on those 10 days, right, that they're planning to spend on the property. Angles, right? So we notice that the perspectives, sometimes we see one picture of the room, right? And that's it. Well, we recommend you to take more pictures from different angles so people can find out, okay, oh, I see. Now this is bigger than I thought before. Or maybe, oh, there is a wardrobe, that I can put my things over there. So again, right, people can understand a little bit better, of your listing. And list, but not last but not least important is photos, the amount of photos, right? Make sure you have plenty of photos, right? So you can have up to 50 photos. So make sure that you take advantage of that. Don't use the minimum necessary, right? So minimum necessary for integration, with 6 photos, you're able to integrate. That's not the most important thing, right? Most important is having, as many as necessary and describing everything, because your listing already has everything. Is just a matter of documenting that, right? And making that available. So here on this slide, everything that I'm talking about, you have here at your home, at your office, so that you can go over after the presentation and review each one of these items and that we are talking about. Why are we insisting on the number of photos, right? Why is that relevant? Because this is part of the things that we're discussing here, right? And that was brought to our attention by Vrbo team. It's like in North America, properties with more than 30 photos generate 63% of the revenue in the market. So why are you saving on photos, right? So that's not something, that's easy to get done, and as you can see, 62% of the reservations are being made for listings that have more than 30 photos. So yes, it is important. The number of photos also count. Okay. Now on Hostaway, how do you do that, right? So you can go to listings, edit, media, and you can add the photos, right? So if you want to watch a quick video, you can click here on this link once you receive the presentation, and there is a short video of 1 minute or less that explains how to do that, right? So if you need, and if you still need assistance, reach out to your account manager or to support, and we'll make sure, that we got you covered with that, okay? And here are the captions, right, that I was talking about. Not only adding, but also adding captions here are very important. Okay, so what else is important? So, for example, amenities, right? We notice, and that happens very often, that sometimes you see a photo of a swimming pool, right? And then you go to amenities and the swimming pool is not there. So what does it mean, sales wise? It means that, okay, if someone is browsing the photos and checking for properties that are displaying swimming pool photos, they will book your property, right? That has a swimming pool, for example. But in case you forgot to check that box for amenities, on swimming pool, then if someone is searching for a place to stay based on filters, on the Vrbo dashboard, on their app, for example, your listing will not appear, even though you have a swimming pool, you have photos of the swimming pool, but you didn't check a box. So it's not only a box, right? So think about it as you're being filtered out of a search, right? So people are looking for something specific. They select the filters, of what they want to see. So if you miss that box, you will not appear on the search, right? And it seems obvious, but it's not, right? It's very often overlooked. So we recommend you to go over your listing at least once a month and review the amenities, right? Review everything that is checked there. If you change anything, maybe you're adding new services, maybe you're bringing some new a dishwasher. You're adding things to your listing, but if you're not checking the box, again, right, people might be overlooking your property. And so this is why we want to bring your attention to that. So activities, air conditioning, don't just assume that the guests will assume your property has it, right? So don't. Make sure that you have that box check, right? TVs, maybe you have a very high quality TV and they haven't even checked the box. So someone that is filtering, they're going to say, wow, this property is not in a good shape, not even a TV here. If you have a hot tub, barbecue, right? So some of these items here can make the difference between someone booking your property or not, right? So be careful, double check, and do a check, an audit of your amenities at least once a month. Okay. So pet, right? So this is something depending on the region, depending on the client that we're talking about, pet is a must, right? So they're not leaving home without pets. And this is more and more often. Wi-Fi, it is, people are working, remote now. So yes, Wi-Fi is more important than ever. And longer stays, right? All the trends that you see happening in the market, they have to also be reflected on the way that you set up your listing. Here on Hostaway, of course, to have it reflected and updated on Vrbo, right? And pay attention to what your guest is looking for, right? So we're talking about updating information here, there, but that's because they are searching, right? So some people will search based on the photos. Some people will search based on filters. You don't want to miss either one, right? So you want everyone. You don't want anyone to miss your property just because, you paid more attention to one rather than the other content. Another thing, that we notice is when you bought your listing, or maybe you rented your listing, or maybe, you got your listing ready to be booked, it was because it is nearby a very specific location, right? So people are looking for that location, and then they are looking for places to stay. So if you don't make sure that you got that covered, again, on the boxes, on the filters and everything, you will be overlooked, right? So if someone is into hiking or into nature or architecture, there are many things that why your guest is looking for. So please make sure that you go and review all that on your setup, right? So, and there are many things, believe me, it is a giant tab that you can go and spend 1 hour there, just reviewing your listing. Nearby activities, right? So again, people are thinking about staying at your place. What are they thinking about? They're thinking about places that they will visit that we just saw, but at the same time, what are they going to do, right? So they need to do something. Of course, you know that, but they don't know that you have that. Maybe you have a kayak, and because you added on the photo, you believe that's enough. No, that's not enough. So check the boxes, make sure that you add everything there, so it is findable, right? Searchable. So if you have hikes, if you have back horse rides, make sure that all the experiences, people are looking for experiences, right? So make sure that all the experiences are documented and checked on the software as well. Okay. Okay. This is the amenities tab, right, inside listings. So everything that I was showing you, location, experiences, attractions, everything here, you can see that this is, if you have ever been to this page, you can see that is a long, long, long page, right? And then you can select based on the channel, what is mapped, what is not mapped, and sometimes it is in a different place. So spend some time, come here, Vrbo, you can also add descriptions. So spend your time and make sure that you have it all covered. All right. Bathroom. Okay, that again is another overlooked one, right? Of course, the number of bathroom is not something that changes very often, right? So this is something that if you have a bathroom, chances are, unless you're remodeling your house, this is not going to change too much. But it's still, people overlook, and sometimes they have 1, 2, 3 bathrooms, and there is only one because that was what needed, a node information, maybe you remodel, you didn't change that. So think about, especially if your house, if your listing is for a larger group, right? So if it is a couple going to a place, maybe one bathroom is more than enough. But then think about 5 people going to the same place or 10 people going to the same place. Of course, bathroom becomes a logistic issue, and that's something that might make the difference between booking your property or another one with more bathroom, that can use at least at a reasonable amount of time, without waiting for too long in line, right? So yes, don't overlook that. And we have it here. You can have it on listing, and you can add it on the basic information on Hostaway tab, and then number of bathrooms, bathroom types, number of guest bathrooms. So make sure that you cover these 3 last items here, and you don't overlook that, right? Very important. I know that bedroom, everybody remembers to review the bedroom, but bathroom is one that we notice that every now and then people miss it. Okay. Okay, description, right? So we're talking, as you can see, in general, we are talking about content, right? Because people want to understand your listing. That's why we're talking about content here. And description. Some people will go for photos, some people will go for filters, and some people will go for description, right? Some people, they just filter out, they got to a short list of maybe 3, 4 listings that they would like to book. Which one are they going to book? Okay, so maybe they go for description. Okay, let me read a little bit more about this listing and let me try to understand, which listing, would work better for us. And they may deep dive here, right? And try to understand more about your listing, more about the attractions or things you do, on why they should stay on your property rather than your competitor. Yeah, so again, right? It's another decision making. If you don't have time to do it, or maybe you just need technology to help you, right? We integrated ChatGPT here to assist you on creating descriptions, right? Maybe you're managing 10, 20, 100 listings, right? And it takes time to review the description of each one of them. Yes, we know that. So that's why we integrated AI to assist you with that, right? And it's very simple to use. You can just click on the AI button and it will generate a new text, right? So you can find that on listing and listings basic information. You can find out, right? And then when you click on it, the AI will create a new text for you. You can use that text. You can, maybe you didn't like it at all, and then you generate a new one. If you like it more or less, you can also incorporate that, edit the text, give your final touch on it, and save it, right? So this is supposed to save you a lot of time, and I recommend you to use it, right? It's here for you. And by the way, we also have AI on communications, right? On the inbox. I don't know if you have already noticed, but we also assist you with the communication with the guest. All right. So don't forget to try it. Now let's talk a little bit about pricing strategy, right? So pricing is something, when we talk about pricing, everybody comes to me and say, no, we know our pricing. We know the sweet spot. We know what we're looking for. We know how much we have to make. We just have to add these fees here, and we got it. But the price, the rates, we know it, right? Yes and no, right? So yes, it's not that you don't know, but sometimes you don't put yourself on the guest shoes, right? So what I'm trying to do here is a combination of, okay, how do you do that from Hostaway, but also rethink, go to the end, the final end, how the guest is looking for your listing. And this is one example that one of the listings, please check the listings, they have the same price and the nightly rate is higher than the one in the middle, right? But if you pay attention, the final price, total price, is higher on the one in the middle. What does it mean? It means that there are many fees, right? So we always recommend, if you already know that you need to charge, just incorporate and calculate that on your price. It's going to be easier for you to understand the relation and how you are converting. And at the same time, for the guest, they will go for the total price, right? Because doesn't really care if they're paying more on rates, on accommodation rate, or if they are paying on fees. At the end of the day, it is the same budget, right? So they will look at the total price. So make sure that you don't get lost on fees, because you can add up fees, right? But at the same time, chances are, that the cleaner, the more straightforward, relation between nightly rate and final price, total price, the bigger chance you are of converting that sale, right? Now, but of course, the fees that you need to add, you can always add here, right? So you can go to listings, you can go to edit, price and fees, and then you can create an additional fee and you can add the value specifically for Vrbo, right? You can add for direct reservation, but you can also add for Vrbo, okay? So again, there is a video here. If you want to see the process, how to do it, there is a button here that is a little cut. So you can add a fee and you can establish that here, all right? Now that we discussed content, we discussed everything, fees, let's talk about cancellation policy, right? That's another big one. So many of my clients, they come here and during the training, they say, well, I like to have a very strict rule because I don't want people to cancel and everything. Okay, so if you have a very high occupancy rate, if you got yourself covered, full of reservations, yeah, maybe that's not a concern, right? I'm rethinking the cancellation policy. If that's not the case, yes, I strongly recommend you to review the cancellation policy and not being as strict, as you are until you can find the right balance here. One more thing, try not to cancel too many reservations, right? Try to keep that slower or lower than 5% of cancellations on the reservations, right? Try to plan ahead, try to make sure that you don't have availability conflicts on your calendar so that you don't have to cancel the reservation later on, all right? And why am I bringing that, right? So properties with flexible cancellations, they have 5 times more bookings than properties with a no refund policy. So again, it's not that you cannot use, just be mindful, right? If your occupancy rate is high, then okay, to go for a no refund, right? The kind of thing. But if that's not your case, yeah, please reconsider that, review that, or maybe select some listings, that you can be more flexible. Sometimes it is not everything or nothing, but about creating a balance here, right? Where can you change that, right? You can set up the cancellation policy, right? With a relaxed, for example, going to the listing, edit, and additional information, right? Right at the bottom, you can see you can create one specifically for Vrbo, and it doesn't even have to be the same, for all the channels. So think about Vrbo and review everything here. All right. Payment schedule. Well, kind of relates to the other one, to the cancellation policy, because it is again about being flexible or not being flexible, right? Again, it depends on your occupancy rate here, to understand what you're going to do. But I have many clients that they charge 100% at the moment of the reservation. Is that okay? It is possible, right? Is it working for you? Maybe not, right? If that's not working for you, you can split the payment, right? So we can create automated charges based on the event, for example, and we can create like a down payment at the reservation creation, and then maybe another payment 30 days after the creation, and then another payment, maybe, I don't know, 14 days before check-in, right? So yes, you can split that and be more flexible, to your client. And with that, for sure, you see the difference, right? Again, you can do that on the listing level, right? So it doesn't have to be on all the listings, but you can work that on some listings. So maybe you don't want to implement that on all the listings. Please consider, to use some listings as a test, and then you give us your feedback, and how it worked for you. Instant booking available, right? Another one. People are looking for your property. They're in front of your property, ready to book. But then you cannot book it, right? Because you haven't selected instant booking, right? And I believe I have an image here, right? So you can do it from listing, additional information, right? So it's as simple as that. Just say yes, right? And what's the importance of that? People may just leave, they were about to book, you were in front of your client. It's like they had the card, they had the purchase, ready to check out. And then, they look at it, okay, I cannot book right now. So maybe I go for another listing, right? And try to finish because, people are thinking about sometimes I want to close the sale now, right? Then enabling instant booking on Vrbo enhances convenience, boost booking. So, and one more thing, not only that it improves, the chances of closing the sale, it also gives you the opportunity of being displayed on Expedia, right? That has an additional 47.6 million unique visitors each month. So you don't want to miss that, right? Again, instant bookable, listing, edit, additional information, right? Response rate, always communicate with guests, make sure that, okay, someone is communicating with you, they don't miss it, right? Even if it is an inquiry, right? Maybe people are asking you questions, inquiries, we have it, right? We can automate that process for you, right? So it's not like you have to pay attention to that. Of course, you must, but in case you miss it because you are too busy, you can always automate that process on Hostaway by selecting an automation that replies on the guest inquiry, right? So make sure you use that. And then as soon as you are available, you communicate with the guest, but at least the guest knows that someone is on the other side and is paying attention to the communication, okay? Okay, that's a huge one, right? Reviews. Everybody knows, everybody requests, everybody is concerned about reviews because, yes, this is the statement of someone else that has already stayed at your property, endorsing your property, right? So it counts a lot. It's not you saying that is an excellent place to stay, but is a former guest saying that this is a place to stay. So keep in mind, 92% of the guests check reviews before they book. So yes. And then the people come to me and say, but Andrew, I don't have reviews. Okay, so if you don't have reviews, In this case, because maybe it is a new listing, maybe lower the price, right? For that specific listing, just until you build up, a couple of reviews. Make sure this guest has an amazing experience, staying at your place. Think about all the details and make sure, of course, that you request a 5-star review after they stay, right? So all the things are important, and everything there is a solution, right? Everybody started with the reviews at some point, right? And the beginning, we know that it could be the most difficult part. So yeah, try some experiences with some listings, and make sure that you make the sale. And for that, you might reconsider your rates just temporarily until you get you can build some critical mass here. So how do you do that, right? Encouraging the guests to leave reviews, right? And of course, the excellent service and experience you are already providing. Just make sure that you show that. Okay. So we have an automation to request to leave a review. So for Vrbo, I recommend you to send a message to the guest. You can automate, use like the checkout as the trigger, and ask the guest to go to their reservation on Vrbo and leave a review. Okay, because that's going to make a lot of difference, and it's going to count very much to you. So yeah, I'm sorry, I have the Q&A here in front of me, but it's not the Q&A yet, right? So we have our special guests today, great professionals that I nurture a lot of admiration of on the Vrbo team. And of course, this presentation was only made possible, from all the feedback that we collected from this team, right? So I have Jamie, Stacy, and Riley here, with me, and it is a great pleasure to have them. And if you could, I would appreciate if you could talk about the things that we are mentioning here. What have you noticed that have been overlooked more frequently, right? Which kind of things that you believe our common clients, our shared clients, are missing every time we ask you to review one account, to go over one account and say, hey, this client is asking why they're not getting reviews. Could you please give me, some insights here of the things that you see from your side?
Yeah, hi, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. So I work directly with our partners, and I know Andrew reiterated this, but I see with account that I work on and I review with our partners missing amenities. So that is one thing, as Andrew said, double, triple, quadruple check every single listing that you are not forgetting any amenities. You wouldn't believe how many pools I've seen missing, spas I've seen missing. When you're at a beach location, not having the location type of beachfront, beach views, water views, beach, near the beach, all of the above. So that is a really important one. Flexible cancellation policy is another important one that is set at listing level in Hostaway. So you want to make sure that every single listing is the way that you want it and as flexible as you can be before sending it over to Vrbo through the software connection. And keep in mind that different OTAs have the same name for different meanings. So if you have a strict policy, it means something different on Vrbo than it does on other OTAs. So keep that in mind. Also, payment schedule. You can set that up at any time on Hostaway. I don't believe it's something that I think it defaults, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but it defaults to 100%, but you can change that at any time. And that's just being more flexible to a traveler, giving them a peace of mind that they don't have to come up with multi-$1,000 credit card charges at the same time, and can also prevent your credit card from being declined at the giant lump sum being collected at once. So I would stress payment schedule, and then more importantly, cancellation policy and amenities are huge. yeah, hope that helps.
Just to add on that, okay, so the cancellation, it defaults to moderate, and the payment schedule is something that we assist during the training, during the onboarding. We guide the clients to do that, right, and to accomplish that. And it's good, everybody that is seeing here, we can also review, right, and do it for the next reservations, moving forward. So we do that during the training, during the onboarding process, and we can schedule it in any way. It does not default. This has to be manually done, prepared, right?
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
How about the data? Could you talk a little bit more about for example, reviews, your experience with reviews? I get that very often, like why are reviews important? Why do review would make the difference, between getting reservations or not getting reservations on Vrbo? Can you tell me a little bit more from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, the data that we see shows that reviews are super important, right? Like if a property has reviews versus a property that doesn't, the property that has reviews, even if it's not all 5 stars, it's going to get booked more than a property with 0 reviews. So like, as Andrew said, it's super important to request your travelers, if they had a good experience, talk to them about leaving a review, let them know how important it is to you, how much you enjoyed having them. There are ways to try and get more reviews. So, for example, Vrbo automatically sends 2 requests to your travelers to rate their stay after booking. I think one's a few days after and the other one's 2 weeks later. You also have the ability to request a review directly in the Vrbo dashboard, and that sends them a link to click on and write the review. We also have the ability to rate the traveler. So in your Vrbo dashboard, you can rate that traveler, and we see a higher rate of them reviewing you after you rate them. So there's a few different ways to try and push travelers to give you those reviews. And I mean, we have huge statistics, and we can maybe send them over to Hostaway and they can share with you about like the conversion rate of a property with reviews, how important it is. And also think you have to remember that, reviews plays into Premier Host. Vrbo has our Premier Host program that highlights our top performing property managers and owners, and reviews is a big part of that.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent insights. And yes, please share with us any data, that you have on that. We'll be glad to go over the data with everyone and share that, because it is important. And like we are stressing here, like it's overlooked, right? And we have to make sure that people don't miss on that, right? And another thing that I was curious is the number of photos, right? What you miss more, when you see photos that you believe that people forget to take photos, and it could make a difference on the conversion, from the guest perspective.
More so, it's just something that's an easy task that's overlooked, and you just provide the basics: the front, the kitchen, the bedroom, and maybe the outside. But it's a very simple way to just show a great experience that the travelers could potentially have. Like Andrew said, showing different perspectives, the inside, the outside, anything that they'll have access to while staying at the property. And then just to play along with that, the caption that describes the photo. And to me, that's just a no-brainer. You put up a listing, you have great photos. Because without those photos, they don't understand what the property is like. So all to say, try to add not as many photos as possible, because you don't want just any photo, but just provide it like you're providing an experience. Show them the entryway into the kitchen, into the bedrooms, and provide an experience that way so that they can fully understand, oh, I can picture myself staying here. This looks like a great fit for my family. I'm gonna book this property.
Yeah, and on top of that, we do allow for virtual tours and videos. So that can also help the traveler better understand the layout of the property. And I do recommend when you upload your photos, you do it in an order that makes sense, right? So they're kind of walking through the house, right? You don't show, you know, the primary bedroom in photo slot 2, and then again in 15, kind of keep them all lumped together so that it helps the traveler better understand the layout of your property.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so would you like to add anything? Because I'm about to go to the Q&A. I can see here that we have many questions, and anything that you would like to add that I haven't asked yet?
Yeah, I mean, you did really, really great in highlighting like what they need to do within their property, but then you also have to understand that there's different market trends, right? So if you look at cancellation policies in certain markets, it's going to vary. And our partner success team and integrated support team can pull market insight data that can show you, hey, here's how listings are performing in your area. This is what you're not doing well. This is where you are doing well. So I do really recommend, if you have a Vrbo account manager, reaching out to them, doing deep dives into your account set. We have a ton of data that will help you make an educated decision, right? You know, we could tell you, hey, have a more flexible cancellation policy. But when we actually say, hey, if you do this, we normally see an increase by this much. It gives you an educated decision on what you're doing. So I would say one of the biggest things that we have here at Vrbo is our partner success team and our support teams that really want to see you succeed.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the insight. And yes, I believe everybody should use all the resources available, right? So we have software, we have promotional marketing side that Vrbo is working on, Expedia group as a whole, you know, even Expedia channel. And we also have the services, right? So we have customer success here, customer success at Vrbo. Yes, everybody should take advantage of all the services that we are offering to make sure that they increase the sales based on the knowledge that we can share, right? So thank you very much for that. And let me go through some questions here. We have here, let me see. If you want to travel away, just see. I'm being asked here how to set up different payments depending, or cancellation policies depending on the length of stay. Okay, I can answer that on the Hostaway. You can select that based on the listing, right? So if you have a listing that performs better on a longer length of stay, you know, you can create a different payment schedule and a different cancellation policy, you know, per listing, right? You don't have to do everything, all the listings, you know, on the very same mode, right? So for different listings profile, you can select a different payment, and you can have select a different cancellation method. All right, so yes, it is possible to do that, and reach out to our support team or our customer success team, and we'll be able to help you with that. You know, if it was not clear, if going after the videos, you know, that is still not clear for you, you know, well, please make sure that you know, you email your customer success, and we'll make sure that we got you covered with that. So,
And I will say, I know we've had a huge amount of requests for Vrbo to offer like seasonal cancellation policies, right? Where you can say, okay, well, this is my cancellation policy during the summer, but this is it during, you know, the shoulder season or whatever it may be. We don't have that yet, but we've heard it so often that it's something that we're working on. And so as soon as we release something like that, you know, we work super closely with Hostaway. They're super quick to adopt any type of APIs that we offer. And so it's a great software to work with just because they're very quick to adopt the features that we release.
Talking about that, I have a question here from Anonymous saying that they believe they got less reservations after integration. Is that a fact? Uh, Does it have anything that supports that?
No,
Because from
that's,
our end, we know that's inaccurate, right?
yeah, we don't treat integrated listing any different than a platform listing. There's no distinction. It's just basically where's the data coming from, the Vrbo platform or a software feed. So I would say if you can reach out to Hostaway, and I can work with Hostaway on and taking a look if there's something going on with your account, and see if there's something, like I said, if there's something going on, but there's no difference between an integrated listing and a platform listing. Platform as in using the
Thank you.
Vrbo platform.
Yes. So Anonymous, please send me your email, or maybe email me on my email, Andrew@Hostaway, so that we can address that directly, right? Because it is an inaccurate perception, right? So
Correct.
thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, that's the same, from Hostaway. Yeah, everything that we do is share the information, and update the information. So yeah, I don't see any reason for that. It's probably a perception. It could be also the market, market changes, performance, right? The scenario, competition. There are many things involved. So please contact your customer success here on Hostaway and your customer success on Vrbo, and let's make sure we get that cleared out. Okay. So, okay, with photo order, shouldn't we highlight our best photos first and then follow the flow of the house? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I believe.
Remember that the
That's-
first photo is your thumbnail that shows up on Vrbo in the search results. So that should not be a brown couch. It should be the best photo that you possibly have of the property. And then from there, you proceed with like a cohesive order of photos.
Yeah, and I often see people even change their thumbnail along with the seasons, right? So in the summertime, they're highlighting the pool and the beach, and then maybe during, the Christmas time, they do something else. So, it's not just set your photos and forget about it. It's also constantly changing it and seeing, test. Here at Vrbo, we do a ton of testing and learning, see what's going to convert higher. So try something. If it doesn't seem to be working, switch out the thumbnail photo and see if that makes you get more hits as well.
Very good advice. Thinking about the season as well, right? So what people have in mind for the season of the year. I got a good one here about reviews. Do you know if review requests still get you the same rate of 5-star reviews compared to organic reviews without request? Do you have any data that supports that?
I don't have the data there. I mean, I can see what we have. We'll pull some stuff after kind of seeing all these questions. We do have a ton of data. But I've never heard anything around, honestly, I think I've heard you're more likely to get a review by requesting it than just, waiting for the traveler to submit it themselves. Right? People are getting home from
that's
vacation.
The same experience we have.
Right? They're tired, they're going back to work. And so they probably had a lovely time at your place. They just got busy. So you reminding them, hey, we would love a review from you. We hope you enjoyed your stay. I think you actually get more reviews requesting reviews versus just waiting.
Yes, it is our experience, the same experience. Requesting reviews is never too much, and it's never something considered intrusive, because at the end of the day, like you said, people might forget, right? They might just forget, and sometimes they will be very glad to leave a review. They just forgot, right? And had a great experience and not sharing for lack of questions. Let me see if I have another one. So if you're coming from a 50-50 payment plan, would you recommend a 33% at booking and 67% 2 weeks before stay? very specific.
I would-
It doesn't mention the market, doesn't mention any additional information. I'm just bringing it as if it was asked. Again, it was an anonymous that had.
I would say that I don't personally know of any data on percentage versus percentage, but a good rule of thumb is to kind of mirror your cancellation policy. So if your cancellation is at 30 days, make that final payment at the 30-day mark. They kind of coincide with each other. But in terms of percentages, like, I think that's your best judgment, and you know your business best on what you think is a good fair amount to collect at what time. Yeah, I think it's up to you to see how you want to manage that. All I can say is a typical payment schedule I see is 50 at the time of the booking and 50, a month or so before. But again, like Stacy said, test and learn. Maybe you get more bookings if you only collect 33% of the booking or at the time of the booking. Maybe it doesn't change and you'll figure that out too. Test it out, see how it works.
Yeah, excellent suggestion. Like I said before, you can do that on the listing basis, for example, right? So you can keep all the
Yes.
listings as a control the way it is right now, and use one listing to test things, new approaches, new cancellation policies, right? More flexibility on everything, on payment, and see how it performs, right? Compared to the control. Yes, that's an excellent point.
And I'd like
Okay,
to make a point. I know Andrew brought up, listing performance year over year or month over month. I mean, the market for the past 3 years, right? We think about COVID and then post-COVID and just like the way that travel trends have changed, it's really hard to compare anything. This is how I did last year compared to this is how I'm doing this year. Also be aware that Vrbo has brought on more listings to our website in the last year than ever before. So the competition there's more properties out there to spread the bookings off. So it's getting more competitive, right? More people are entering the vacation rental market. So in order to stay at the top and keep doing really well, you have to make sure that your properties, one, are optimized by doing all the tips that Andrew went over, from content optimization to making sure your properties have what travelers are looking for. And so I would say, it's competitive out there, and it's hard to compare yourself to, year over year. Travel trends are changing. So work, closely to make sure your properties are well optimized, and with our partner success team to make sure you're doing everything you can.
Okay, excellent. So we are approaching the end. Would you like to give some final words on your side, Stacy, Jamie, Riley?
Just thank you for inviting us. It's great working with you all. You're a great partner of ours. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. As always, you have been great, with additional information, with all your knowledge and everything. Always a pleasure to work with you. Josh, would you like to give some final words here?
Yeah, so really great tips here for you guys to go out and get your Vrbo profiles optimized. Our goal here at Hostaway is to make sure, again, that you're receiving your return on investment and utilizing the platform to its best of its ability. I wanted to thank again Vrbo, you guys, for joining us, Stacy, Riley, Jamie, and taking the time out of your day to come on and join us here at Hostaway for this webinar with our clients. If you have any questions regarding any of these tips, reach out, customer success at hostaway.com, specifically for this email or for this webinar. If you have something else that's not related, you can always reach us at support@hostaway.com or give us a call at the phone number listed on the website. But thanks for joining us, and thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the panelists and all the participants here. And please send your questions. If we were not able to answer your questions here, during this webinar, we'll make sure that we send the answers later on, right? By email or by your account manager, you will be reached out. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
next time.
you.